Hello, Internet. Today, I want to talk about something called that I like to call the 90% rule. And admittedly, this is not exactly a good day to be recording outside. I've been having thunderstorms all day. There's standing water and mud everywhere. That's fun. But it's good for the plant life, as you can see. Field's looking a lot healthier than usual. But yeah, the 90% rule. And ignore the eyesore in the background. That's not important. But yeah, 90% rule. Yeah, we have mosquitoes everywhere now. At least I think they're mosquitoes. There might be dragonflies. It's hard to see when they're just doing that. Anyway, 90% rule, finally. This could take a little bit of explaining, but it's basically something you can apply to money or time. Personally, I think the time application is more valuable, but let's start with money, because at least that way we have like actual numbers involved. And granted, we have numbers with time as well, but yeah, not a good day to be recording else. I'm gonna get eaten up by mosquitoes. Anyway, money and the 90% rule. So let's say there's an annoying vehicle out there, so I'll wait until that passes. Anyway, 90% rule applied to money. Let's say you start with 1 month. I mean, ideally you do this across several months, going back several years. Ideally, but that takes some time. But, add up all of your expenses, all the bills that you had to pay that month. Include buying groceries, buying gas, changing the oil in your car, basically anything you paid for during that month. Now, if an emergency popped up, like last year around this time, my car was threatening to spontaneously burst into flames, and there was a $1,000 repair. If I'm only doing this on 1 month, I wouldn't include that because that doesn't happen every month. But if I were doing this across several years, I would include that because, things like that do pop up. But anyways, we add up all the expenses, everything that we had to pay for in that month, assuming it's not an anomaly or some weird emergency thing, unless we're doing this across several years. So we have basically a rough idea of how much money we have to spend in 1 month. You can now add up your paychecks. Now, if you're doing this for just 1 month, hopefully you chose a good month, or well, not a good month, an average month. Take the amount of money you have from your paychecks, and then subtract out what you had to spend your money on. All your bills, your groceries, the regular things. And this is actually why it's better to do this across several months, over several years, because you get a better idea, and you can actually track how much your cost of living is increasing over the years, which is a good thing to track. And admittedly, I'm not doing this across several months because it's time consuming. But I mean, it's a good idea to do that, and my shoes are already wet. But anyways, if you have an overall average month, when you subtract everything that you had to spend money on from your paychecks, you should have some money left over. Now, what do you do with it? And most people, they're split. Some people you put into a bank or a savings account and save it. It's not bad. Other people, they spend it on movies and going out to eat and video games, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just once you spend it, you don't have it. And it's easy to let that kind of get out of hand. And in fact, I know some people. I mean, I don't know them, but I know of them. That just sounded weird. But the ground is very uneven here, so I'm a little distracted. It's also very slidey because of the mud, as aforementioned. But, you know, okay, full disclosure, last year I made like a little over 18,000 for the entire year. I know of some people who make 2, 3, 4 times that much. You know, live in big fancy houses, drive like several different, you know, highly expensive cars. You know, they go out to eat every night and they're watching movies and they buy tickets to sporting events, and then they're complaining about not having enough money. You know, think about that for a minute. You know, where's that money going? I mean, they're making like 3 or 4 times what I make, but they don't have enough money. What are they doing? What are they using it on? And see, I mean, there's some psychology behind that. I'll get into that next week. But let's just focus on, you know, what do you do with the money you have left over after you pay your bills? This is where the 90% rule comes in. Take 10% of it and use it for fun. You know, that's the going out to eat, you know, going out to the movies, buying tickets to sporting events, and, you know, whatever you think is fun. For me, it's buying a sword. Swords are fun. But the remaining 90%, I mean, you could put it away and save it. There's nothing wrong with that. Or you could put it to work on something that will earn you more money. So then, you know, a few months down the line, the amount of money you have left over after paying your bills is bigger. So the 10% you can play with is bigger. And admittedly, I mean, the 90%, 98% rule, that was kind of arbitrarily chosen. I chose it more because of how it sounds. You know, the important part is that you take at least some part of your money and invest it in making more money. And I mean, it could be, I mean, I'm not really, this video isn't really intended to go into depth about how you can, you know, use your money to make more money. And there are probably people more qualified to talk about that than me. But, you know, with that in mind, let's now turn to time, which I think is a little more valuable than money. I mean, money, there are plenty of ways to get more money. Time, once you use it up, it's gone. That's why it's more valuable. So again, you go to work, you do work stuff, and then you have to sleep. And if you have a family, you take care of family stuff and all that. But then you have the me time, the air quotes me time. You know, the time that you have to yourself. What do you do with it? Most people, they entertain themselves. Watch TV, binge watch Game of Thrones, or whatever the current big thing is. Play Call of Duty, or that Apex Legends thing that's big now. Or that, you know, they go out to eat, they watch movies, they watch sporting events. Or they have some other hobby that they engage in. What if, again, applying the 90% rule, what if you spent 10% of your free time, or your me time, on just entertaining yourself, and the remaining 90% of your free time you spent on trying to turn your hobby into something that will earn you money, so that you have to spend less time at your job and your hobby becomes your job. I'm trying to think of a better way of explaining that. I'm kind of using the assumption that most people are in a job they don't like, and they'd rather be doing their hobby like full time, but they can't because it's not earning the money, and we need money to eat, basically. So what if you can spend at least some amount of your free time, not on your hobby, but on working to get your hobby to a point where it's earning you money and eventually becomes your job. That way the time that you spend at your job is time spent at your hobby. So it makes sense? And by the way, that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the YouTube's thing. I mean, I have some other side things on the back burner that I'm kind of hinting at. Back when I was hitting Instagram, I started talking about cryptocurrency, or what I'm doing in cryptocurrency. And then time issues came up with work, and I had to step away from Instagram. Hopefully that is changing. And on the my sucky job issue thing. Yeah, we were short-staffed for a while, and I had to spend a lot of my time at a job I don't like, just because I need the money, and they don't have enough people, so, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? We have more people now, so hopefully I'll be having a little more free time now, and I can get back into the Instagram thing, and I can start, that sort of thing. So yeah, 90%, and again, 90%, that's kind of an arbitrary thing. I kind of wanted a name that had like a 3-beat punch, 90% rule. And 60% rule, 70% rule. It just didn't sound right, And 80% rules, that sounds a little too much like the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, which is a very valuable piece of information to know about. And yeah, okay, this looks better than this, because I mean here I'm like in shadow. I'm kind of like Batman though, but anyway. Yeah, here we are at the point where I'm just kind of rambling along about nonsense. 90% rule. Which, I mean, again, 90%, that's kind of arbitrary. You like fiddle with that to your taste. Some amount of your spare cash, some amount of your spare time should be devoted to activities that... I think we're starting to get more rain. Devoted to activities that are intended to get you more spare cash and more free time. Think about it.